I wanted to see if a palm tree could survive the winter in the Toronto area. After visiting a garden center which imports tropical trees in Simcoe County and viewing a few different types of palm trees, I decided to purchase a pygmy date palm. I chose this Florida pygmy date palm because to me, it's the prettiest type of palm tree. It has that soft, flowy look as opposed to windmill palms which look tough and rough. Also, windmill palms are already found throughout the Vancouver area as they are winter hardy, and the winters there are mild. So I wanted to see if a different palm tree, one which is a staple of Florida and the tropics, could survive the ground throughout a real Toronto winter. I felt this experiment would be interesting, as from what I read, pygmy date palms can survive cold weather down to -4 Celsius for up to 3 or 4 days with some sustained damage. I planted it in July of 2020. It did very well for the remainder of the summer. Initially, it looked very healthy. I watered it about once every 3 or 4 days. We basked in the flowing beauty of its delicate fronds, which had a glossy finish to them and were pigmented with a deep, lush green. I did not notice any new growth during this period, but the existing fronds seemed to fare well. The only issue I had planting the tree was not being able to dig deep enough. The tree needed to go in 24 inches. However, we hit construction debris at 16 inches. To compensate for this, I put several bags of garden soil on top to cover up the roots. The drawback to this was that gravity and rain would cause that topsoil to sink and fall, exposing some of the roots again. As summer began to turn to fall, I noticed more of the fronds browning and a few of them dying out. Sparingly, I pruned the tree. We had a scorching summer and a pleasant fall. I began designing a greenhouse in mid-October. Searching online for ready-made solutions, the prefabricated greenhouses I found were too small. I needed a 13-foot by 8-foot by 8-foot frame. After gaining some ideas from DIY greenhouses online, I settled on a polypipe wood hybrid design of my own. It was lightweight, affordable, costing about $500 and not too difficult to put together. I took detailed measurements of the backyard, making sure to account for the sloping ground, and started modeling a design in 3D Studio Max. The design took 2 days and construction took another 5. Details of the design are in the link in the description. It was a relatively mild winter in southern Ontario this year, but we still had our severe cold snaps. During the day, if it was sunny enough, the greenhouse would hit temperatures of 34 degrees Celsius and above. I was shocked with how powerfully and efficiently the sun alone could heat the greenhouse. However, as the sun would set, the drop in temperature was drastic. Unfortunately, drastic drops in temperature are harsh for this palm, so this daily drop in temperature at sunset became a source of concern for me. At night and on cloudy days, the greenhouse was heated by 2 120-volt radiant heaters. They worked well and on average raised the temperature about 11 degrees Celsius during the night. I would usually turn the heaters on when the temperature would fall below 9 degrees Celsius. Sometimes I'd keep both heaters on milder nights I'd keep only one on. Sometimes I'd run them at full power, sometimes half, and sometimes I'd have them on automatic mode so they would turn on and off themselves, trying to maintain the set target temperature. Halfway through the winter, I realized the ground was not heated adequately. It was difficult finding information on how to take care of this tree in the ground in the winter in a northern climate. I think this was because almost no one tries to do that. I got pipe heating cables which I installed in the ground. I dug out a trench around the roots and put 2 layers of these heating cables in. Unfortunately, I feel they were woefully inadequate. They were quite low powered, using about 7 watts per foot, and only turned on when a thermometer above ground started approaching 0 Celsius. The problem with that was that above ground, the greenhouse was almost always well above 0 Celsius, so the ground heating cables were almost always off. What a waste of energy and time doing all that digging. I ended up discovering that pygmy date palms grow well when the ground is at least 65 degrees Fahrenheit. I suspect I was well below that mark.